Hi everybody, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! Yeehaw! And I've been wanting to make this video for a little while. I have a lot of Pokemon rattling around in my brain that I think would be cool to see in Pokemon Unite, so I just wanted to bring some of them up right now. We could talk about possibly what roles they might fill, and if you have some ideas in the comments of ones that you would love to see and how you'd like to see them implemented in the game, please let me know. Obviously, right now, we are all waiting with bated breath for Blastoise. Bated breath for Blastoise. I really want that Pokemon to come out. But until then, we can only dream about what other Pokemon are to come. So, let me pull one up here. Who do I start with? Let's see. Let's start with... There are some that I think are so fun. Okay, let's start with this one. Sceptile. Oh, and I'm realizing it's going to cut my face off if I'm not hanging out over here. So Sceptile, I think, is a really, really cool choice for a speedster Pokemon. We need more speedster Pokemon. We need more of every Pokemon, to be fair. I could see some people saying, no, we don't need speedsters right now, Jake. But I think Sceptile is just such a cool choice for that role. It's really fun to get a starter in there for this. So I personally would really like to see a Pokemon like this fill that speedster role. It's also different feeling than a lot of the speedsters we have right now. So I think Sceptile would be a very cool choice for a new addition to the roster as a speedster. Let's see, who else? Okay, so going from grass to grass, we need more attack damage carry Pokemon. We need more Cinderaces, more Greninjas. We need it only because there's only 2 of them in the game right now, and one of them's kind of the one, which is Cinderace. So, an idea I had would be someone like this, Decidueye. I think this Pokemon is kind of a no-brainer. It's Ghost Grass, and it's already got a bow, so it's already shooting a bunch of things right now. It feels like a natural attack damage Pokemon that you could just throw in the game pretty easily. And yeah, the reason I'm saying we need it is because at some point we're going to have the ability to pick and ban, which would be banning Pokemon that we think are overpowered or, you know, that we don't want to see on the enemy team, and then going through a pick phase where in order the teams are picked. And to do that, you need more Pokemon that fill each role. And I think this is a great option to fill that AD carry role. And it's kind of a cool choice, Ghost Grass. That's pretty fun. And it's got the bow, baby. Do I stay in this realm? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. We can talk about Scizor. Scizor, I think, would be dope. This, for me, feels absolutely like an all-rounder type Pokemon that you would put into the game. I think it just feels like it's going to get up in people's faces and bullet punch and box with them. So I think Scizor would be a really cool all-rounder. They do need to add some attackers that aren't, you know, super ranged. So I don't know if you could take a Pokemon like this and put it in that role. But I do think it would be cool to have a Pokemon that feels like an all-rounder but also is more focused on attack. Scizor is kind of a cool choice for something like that. And it would be nice to get, you know, a cool steel Pokemon like this inside the game. Scizor's just so cool, too. It looks like a red sports car. I mean, you gotta love Scizor. So I feel like this would be a cool one to get inside the game. Let's see. Let's go for a weird one. Is this a weird one? Yeah, this is a weird one. Okay, here we go. Wobbuffet. So this Pokemon I see kind of filling a support role. And my thought here with this is, it would be really interesting. Now, it could be game breaking, so you got to watch out for a Pokemon like this, but it would be really interesting to see what would happen if you had a Pokemon whose main utility was reflecting back what was coming at it. I'm sure you could do this in different ways. You could have other Pokemon that, you know, have similar moves like this, like counter, but I think it would be kind of cool to see. It might classify itself as a defender, but to have a Pokemon around that's sole purpose is just reflecting back what the enemy is doing. So the enemy has to now really plan their engagements. The only problem with this is it's either going to work, really work, or it's not going to work and no one will use it. So it's either it works too well and it kind of messes with the game a little bit, or it doesn't really work at all and everybody hates it and no one wants it on their team. So I like this Pokemon. I think they would be cool to do something like this, but this might be a little too much for the game. I'm coming from the MOBAs I've played, you know, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Smite. I think all of them do a decent job of adding odder heroes into the equation. I think Smite does a really amazing job of bringing different kinds of play style with their champions. So, or do they call them gods in that? So I think if you were really creative, you could use someone like this, but it might be a little much for the game. Might be a little much for the game. Let's talk about, ooh, this could be fun. Let's talk about you. This is someone I'm really interested in seeing. I got a small little picture. I wish, can I make this bigger without cutting my head off? Nope. Still cut my head off, whatever. So, Magikarp. Magikarp into Gyarados. We already have Pokemon that are late game sort of monsters, you know? We have Gardevoir and Garchomp. Any of the Gars, really, as I've said before. Charizard kind of gets there as well. So these are Pokemon that do not so great early and a lot better late. And I think it might be cool to have a Pokemon like Magikarp that is almost useless for a while. You literally have to feed it. You might have to put experience share on it. It can't do much. Maybe it can just flop around and do a little bit of something here or there. But once it evolves, it really turns on. This is another one of those Pokemon that puts the developers in a difficult situation, because if they don't make Gyarados good enough, then no one picks it. But if they make Gyarados good enough, then everyone runs a Magikarp build, and you just know that you have to feed your Magikarp, because once he becomes Gyarados, it's game over. But I really want to see Pokemon that feel like they're stretching outside of maybe what we've seen in some MOBAs before. Pokemon has such an insane roster of people. As I was going through this, there are like 100 Pokemon, well, more than this, but there are like 100 Pokemon that immediately spring to mind that you would want to put in the game that all would operate in weird ways. So I just thought, man, to have a Pokemon that really starts small, almost useless, and just needs to be around fights a little bit or have an experience share on, but then once it becomes Gyarados, all of a sudden it's on. I think that would be a really cool choice. I don't know what role this would play. I guess maybe this would be attacker role. I guess this would fill attacker because it would be a carry Pokemon, right? So something like that. I think that would be really cool. Although I totally understand why this is probably not going to make its way into the game. Let's see. Heracross. Heracross is a really fun Pokemon. This feels like an all-rounder. I could kind of see it as a defender a little bit, you know, with its ability to maybe pick people up and throw them. I could see that. It feels like an all-rounder just because it's, you know, it's a scrappy fighter. But this Pokemon's just so freaking cool. It's either Heracross or Pinsir. I feel like both of them could be really, really cool additions. And they just feel like grapplers. And it's nice to have people who have lots of different options for CC. You know, we have Machamp and stuff like that. And it would be cool to have a few more Pokemon that took advantage of that fighting style. So I think a Pokemon like Heracross would be really, really fun. Also something with, what's its horn move? I should have pulled it up before I was doing this. Now I'm going to pull in real time. I'm forgetting the name of its horn move, and people are probably super annoyed with me for this, but I don't care. I want to find it. I want to see it. It's something like Super Horn. It's been too long since I played. What is it? Mega Horn! I was close. I was close combat. Hey, good thing I pulled that up. Now I got to make that joke. So yeah, I think this would be a really cool Pokemon to see inside the game. And I don't know, I just love this Pokemon, so I think it would be awesome. Let's see another one. Oh, did I talk about this? Boy, now I'm gonna have to go. I might have to edit this part out if I did. As another attack damage carry, how about a weird one that we might not expect, like Octillery? Octillery, I feel like it's just going to be shooting water at range, and I think that would be a cool one to see. Maybe someone we wouldn't normally expect. And you know what, a lot of MOBAs, especially mobile ones, I've noticed, they kind of have someone who behaves a little bit like a turret. They set up and then it's just tons of damage. So it was a good sound. Honestly, I was impressed by that sound effect. As I did it, I thought, nailed it. I think this would be a cool twist on that turret champion that we see in some games like this. There's a champion in Vainglory, which is another MOBA. It's started as a mobile MOBA, I believe, and I think there was a character, I think his name is Saw, who's kind of sets up like a turret, and I could see someone like Octillery behaving very similarly. I think it would be a cool choice, but it might not rival some of the other 80 carries if it did that, because losing the mobility might be too big of an issue for it. However, I think this would just be a pretty cool call to put into the game. Let's go with, did I do this one? Did I do it? Yeah, our little Kung Fu bear, Cub Fu into Urshifu. So the next few kind of go along this path. I think it would be really cool to have a Pokemon where your moveset determines its type. So you can go the water route, or you can go the dark fighting route, or whatever. I think it's dark fighting. So I really like sort of that option. This gives you one evolution, so this Pokemon maybe can scale a little bit faster. So maybe this one kind of is pretty decent early game, mid game. Maybe it falls off a little late game. I'm not sure. Just because I noticed that's how they design things. If you're really strong early, you fall off a bit late. And if you're really strong late, you're kind of weak early. Usually, that's not always the case. Some Pokemon are just really darn good. But I think this would be a really cool choice. I want to see them use the fact that Pokemon evolve differently for different reasons. I want to see them give us the ability to go water or dark based on your moveset. I think that'd be really cool. This feels like an all-rounder as well, but I could easily see them saying, no, this is going to be an attacker. Maybe this would be more of your melee-focused attack-type Pokemon. I think this would be a really fun one to see. And, you know, it's a newer one, so that would be kind of cool as well. In the same thought process, let's pull up this one. I hate this image that I chose. I'm very sorry about the image that I chose, but I chose it, and here we are. The Polyline. I like this because you kind of have two options when it comes to the final evolution. You have the Poly Toad and the Poly Wrath or whatever. So I feel like this is a pretty cool way to go, oh, one of these you're going, you know, like up close physical, and one of these you're staying ranged. So I'm kind of thinking this would be an attacker Pokemon where somehow you branch. Maybe, and they do this in some games, maybe your Unite move, you get a choice between two, and whichever one you pick, that is your evolution. So if you pick one Unite move, you go Polytoad. If you pick one Unite move, you go Poliwrath. And then you kind of have two different builds. You have the ranged build and you have the more melee focused build. I don't know how they would handle a lot of this stuff, except I just think it would be cool. I think hey, somebody's got to talk about it. Nobody's talking about this. So somebody has to talk about the fact that Pokemon evolve in weird ways, and there's so many things we could do in a game like this because of it. Let's see. Oh, yes. This one I feel like you gotta have this. You gotta have Corbinite, and you gotta have Garchomp right next to it. So Corbinite, I think, would be sick. It's a defender in my mind, and it's a defender that has more mobility than some of the other defenders, kind of using the tactics that you see a little bit with a Talonflame, a little bit of the thought process of a Talonflame, but the ability to move people around the battlefield like a Snorlax or something like that. Obviously, you have to split the difference a little bit. You can't literally have a Snorlax that can just go wherever it wants. Although sometimes, geez, it feels like it does. But I think that would be really, really fun to see. And obviously, everyone loves Corbinite too. It's probably the standout Pokemon from the newest game. I don't know if anything comes close. I could be totally wrong on that. Everyone might be yelling at their screen right now. They're like, it's freaking Inteleon or whatever. But I think Corbinite might be the standout, and a defender that felt like it had the mobility of someone that flies, however they could work that into the game, I think would be very, very cool to see. I think that's mostly everybody. Okay, yeah, we got 2 more, right? This one, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we do with this. What do we do with Ditto? So my thought is you could have Ditto transform into any Pokemon on your team, so you could dupe somebody on your team or the enemy team. There are people in MOBAs that work like this. There are people in other MOBAs that have this ability to sort of dupe somebody. I'm trying to think of what it was in Smite. I can't remember if they just duped their sort of ultimate move in that game, but there were people in other games that let you sort of copy other characters. And I'm wondering if this is someone where it doesn't have a Unite move necessarily. Its Unite move is choosing who it wants to make a copy of. And then, so you get it early. You get its Unite move right away. And you choose someone, and it's on a cooldown of who you can become a copy of. So maybe early game, you go, oh, I'm going to become a copy of Ninetales, because Ninetales is such a bully early game. And then later you use your Unite move, and I'm going to become a copy of Greninja, because we're going to have 2 Greninja carries later. So it's another one of those situations where you go, well, you can't have it be as strong as some of these others. I guess the thing that it takes away is it doesn't have their Unite moves, but you get the utility of becoming who you need to be in that moment. I just imagine if you're trying to defend Zapdos, your team is winning, and they're coming in, and somehow you become another Snorlax, and you have 2 Snorlaxes pushing people. I don't know. I think Ditto could be really cool, but I of course see all the Pokemon I'm bringing up. Some of them I can see real issues with them in the game, but I would like to see them try. And I think this is the final one. My final one is Eevee. Eevee and all of its evolutions. So how do we do this? My thought is this is moveset based, or you put Eevee into multiple roles and it's still moveset based, because how many Eevees do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 Eevees that pop out from Eevee. Is that confusing? We have 8 different Eevees. We got Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, Umbreon, Glaceon, Sylveon. What's your name? Why don't I remember you? Espeon, duh, and Leafeon. So yeah, I think if we could somehow see a Pokemon like Eevee, where someone on the other team's Eevee and you don't know which one they're going until they evolve, maybe they'd have to keep it simple. Maybe for simplicity, they'd go, we're only doing the 3, original base ones. I still think if you could somehow do all of the evolutions, that would be the coolest thing possible. But maybe one, you go Jolteon, okay, you're more of a speedster. Vaporeon, you're more of a defender. Flareon, you're more of an all-rounder. And, the others, do fill the roles. Like, Glaceon kind of feels like similar to an Alolan Ninetales, I guess, so maybe that's a problem. And then Leafeon, it's kind of in the realm of maybe a Venusaur a little bit. So I understand where the tough thing is, for the developers that have to make one Pokemon that turns into, the project's so huge, it turns into 8 Pokemon. It's a mess. But if we could somehow have it where someone played Eevee and then you go, oh, they're going Jolteon, everyone runs Jolteon, all of a sudden they go Flareon, and you think, whoa, is Flareon the meta right now? I think that would be one of the coolest things you could see in this game, and they have the ability to do this kind of stuff. They do. This Pokemon gives you so many different options of characters to put in this game. So there's some of my thoughts. Again, let me know what you think in the comments there. Eevee in general, if it had to be one role, I think you'd have to just decide which way it evolves, right? I think you wouldn't be able to do anything else except just like go, yeah, you have to evolve this way. You become Flareon and you're this kind of Pokemon. Although they wouldn't pick Flareon. So there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.